10 questions today to ask His Holiness. We do have to keep this relatively short. He has a lot of appointments, but nevertheless, we're going to try to get through all 10 of your questions. By the way, as a kind of demonstration of just how kind he is, over the years I've asked him to do many favors for me. He's never turned me down once. He is certainly one of the kindest people I've ever met, if not the kindest, and it's very kind of him to come here today. Last year, for example, I asked him to take some time out from his schedule to visit some of America's very poor. And so he came to a soup kitchen in San Francisco where he had lunch, laughed, talked, and had a great time with some of America's poor in San Francisco. This time I decided, well, why don't I ask him to come to a school in East Palo Alto, where children work here, where they study here, but they're probably not as likely as others to meet someone like him. And so he said, yes, sounds like a good idea, and that's why he's come. So he is going to spend a little time with you today. We're ready to take the first question. Thank you a lot for being here.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Maria Hermosillo. I am 14 years old and represent Cesar Chavez Middle School. I'm from a family who moved to East Palo Alto from Kansas and was born in Jalisco, Mexico. My question for His Holiness is, when you were a child, what did you miss most about your life in Tibet?
Kasa. Huh? Ro. I don't know. Oh. I think as a human nature, so those occasions, either overjoy or fear, that usually is the remember more clearly. I think answer for your question, actually first question, I think the story may be not nice, but I want to tell you, in my village, no toilet. Of course, you see, as a villager, it's an open toilet. So one day, I just went for, what's the day? Let out things to say. One camel, huge camel, approaching to me. I very much afraid. I remember that camel sort of color and shape, very strong. And the face, and looking at me, you see, coming, I ran away. That I remember very clearly.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness and friends. My name is Jose Archundia Adriano. I am 13 years old and I represent Willow Oak School. I was born in Puebla, Mexico, and I was taught that before you leave this world, you must do something good. My question for His Holiness is, why was a child chosen to be the leader of his country and religion when there were wiser and more experienced people there?
Really? I think small child, not controversial. Old people, wise people, sometimes more controversial. What do you think? I think young child, say, I think very innocent. Of course, I think the real answer for your question, Tibetan sort of, I think in, I think 1,000 years ago, then there was also the emperor, I think, and the big emperor was the peak of kingdom, the 7th century, 8th century, 9th century, I think 3-4 centuries. Then very wide area in Central Asia. Then that, I think 9th century, eventually disintegrate. Disintegrate. Then some spiritual leader. Of course, those popular sort of spiritual leader, then they also, then eventually they carry the responsibility to look after the place. And also, you see, I think different area, different spiritual leaders, you see, because of that, take responsibility about temporal matter also. Then, because it is, 17th century, then another spiritual leader. So that's now the Dalai Lama's lineage, the 5th Dalai Lama, 17th century, quite popular and quite clever. You see, he eventually take both the responsibility of spirituality as well as the temporal. Then before that also is some, I think, a few cases. One person took the responsibility, then his reincarnation or his sort of disciple is continuously take the responsibility that way. So after 5th Dalai Lama, his reincarnation, suppose his sort of new life, new body. So I think it's the 13th Dalai Lama. Actual sort of, I think, responsibility, not from the young age. For example, the 13th Dalai Lama, at 18 years sort of old, he took the responsibility. Then my case, suppose 18 years, as sort of the pattern showed by 13th Dalai Lama, but then the circumstance is desperate. The old regent, of course, personally, is my also spiritual teacher, tutor, so I very much respect. But at that time, not very popular. So in order to unify Tibet, at the time, you see, things are now very critical. Then my age, 16, then they decided there are assembly there. They decided now the young Dalai Lama should take the responsibility, temporal responsibility. So that way. However, since my childhood, I always admire the system of democratic way. Election, through election, is choosing leader. And actually, I took the responsibility, temporal responsibility in 1950. Then soon after 51, already in the 50, already is the Liberation Army, Chinese Liberation Army already entered some portion of Tibetan area. Tibetan also is a quite big area. So it's some already, you see, administered by Chinese provinces, including my own birthplace area. But then rest, Western Tibet, Central Tibet, under Tibetan government jurisdiction under. So the Chinese Liberation Army already occupied some part. Then, at that time, 1950, I think 50, we raised Tibetan issue at UN, but then failed. Because we already engaged direct contact with the Chinese government. So government of India, with British support, Tibet issue not raised at UN because they feel it is better to direct sort of contact, deal directly. Then 1951, this 17-point agreement signed. Then around 52, I set up a reform committee, but not very successful. Then after 59, when we came out Tibet, then soon we set up, so we improve our assembly. Then eventually we start work for democratization. And then finally 2001, we already achieved elected political leadership. Since then, my position is a semi-retired position. Now I'm looking forward to complete retirement. So the rule by young boy, now outdated, finished.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Rudy Rivera. I'm 14 years old and I represent Costaña School, home of the 49ers Academy. I'm the son of an immigrant family from Guatemala. My question for you today is, if you were President of the United States, what would you do to make this a better country?
I think, if may I say so, and this question is a rather silly question. I think my answer also, a strange answer I want to answer. If I took the presidency of this great country, I think within few weeks, United States economy will face bankruptcy. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness and friends. My name is Adagio Lopeti, and I'm 13 years old, and I represent Bellhaven School. I am a child of a family of 6, born in River City. My question for His Holiness is, did you ever want to be an ordinary person with a family and children of your own?
Oh. Of course, when I was very young, or teen child, 8 or 9 year old. Then there was tradition during winter time, the 3 weeks or 1 month sort of retreat. So each day, of course, during retreat, I cannot go outside, remain in certain sort of area within the compound. And then 2 sessions, one morning, one afternoon, with my tutor. The elder tutor, very rare smile, always like that, stern. So I have to spend with him about, I think, 1 hour or 2 hours in morning, another 1 or 2 hours in afternoon. Then I really feeling boring. So when I sit behind my tutor, remain like that. Then, particularly afternoon, the shade of the mountains also growing, and feel much sort of boring. Then some sort of local people who also carrying some animal. The daytime they are pasturing, pasture. Then they're returning to their home. And ordinary sort of boys and girls that look after this animal, singing. And then sometimes I feel, I wish I will be one of them, like that. So such sort of feeling occasionally used to happen. But then eventually I realize it's my sort of own responsibility. Of course there are a lot of challenge, but logically more challenge, better opportunity to do something meaningful sort of work. So then I never felt Kasota. I just realized this is a good opportunity like that. So now, I want to ask you, if you judge on my face, what would you think my age?
19.
Look. Now, over 75 years old. So I really felt my life, I think two reasons. One, I think Tibet, previously mysterious land. Dalai Lama of that mysterious land. So it's more and more people showing curiosity. What is Tibet? What is Tibetan culture? What is Dalai Lama? That's one, I think, factor. One factor, right? And then I think another factor, my sorority, the habit of, I think maybe genes also maybe some sort of that connection. As I mentioned before, we came from a village, very small village. My both parents uneducated, illiterate. But very nice, very warm-hearted person, particularly my mother. So we quite sort of today, I think our sort of habit, always very jovial, joking, playing like that, easygoing. So that also one factor. You see, my basic sort of nature like that. So whenever I met people, immediately you become close friend. Each other feel very close. So here, first time meeting with these unknown people, but in my mind, we are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, mentally, physically even, same. So there's no barrier. Of course, the language barrier there, in that my broken English sometimes quite helpful, like that, so like that. So, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tatiana Spears and I am 13 years old. I am an 8th grade student representing Ronald McNair Middle School and the Boys and Girls Club of East Palo Alto. Your Holiness, with all that is going on in the world today, what advice do you have for us young people?
Samjakayase. Right. That's a good question. Now we are in 21st century. Within the century, 10 years passed, almost passed. And now 90 years yet to come. Judging previous century, that century, although one side, that century, really, I think, Kasota become, I think, one of the great century of innovations, Savanya, innovations, technology, science, and many, many sort of things. Meantime, the technology itself also become important part of destruction, including nuclear weapon. So I think the 20th century, I think much development in external field. I think much neglected about inner values. So these great achievement, technology field or science, often used by hatred, anger, greed. So that become sort of that bring more trouble, more suffering, including the global warming, these things, unusually. And then the worst thing, the 20th century, I usually describe 20th century becomes century of bloodshed, century of violence. According to some historians, the 20th century, the number of people who killed through violence over 200 millions. What we learned from that, now I think many parts of the world, people really feel violence is bad, bloodshed is bad, isn't it? So I think a genuine desire for genuine peace from New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and all part of the world. I think genuine desire. Look, Europe. I think most warfare took place in that continent. But the later part of 20th century, through their maturity, they look common interest. The national sort of one's own sovereignty, these are not top important, but top important is common interest. So therefore, European Union developed. Now each nation, all these member states, they willing sacrifice their own currency. That's the sign of sovereignty, like that. Therefore, now we must pay more attention about our inner value. That means human compassion, human affection. More affection there, respect other there, then the violent method become irrelevant because you love your enemy, you love your neighbor. Then destructive work for them is now out of question. So therefore, everywhere people want peace. Peace must bring from within. Through inner peace, genuine peace can achieve. Genuine peace cannot materialize by nice declaration or some kind of beautiful, agreement. No. You must develop here inner peace. And through that way, genuine peace. And whenever we found disagreement, different interest, we must solve through dialogue, face-to-face talk. So, youth, I often used to telling people, my generation belongs to 20th century, now gone. You, these people, young people, you belongs to 21st century. Now, next 9 decades, whether become peaceful, compassionate, friendly, or more destructive, more miserable, entirely up to you. So education, just a mere development of brain, not sufficient. You must pay more attention about our warm-heartedness, which we learned from our mother, everybody. At a young age, we received maximum affection from our mother. Those children who receive sufficient affection from our mother, their mind much more healthier, physical also healthier. Those children comparatively little lacking about affection from their mother, in deep inside something, sense of insecurity. And that also is very bad for their health. Then the worst thing is children who receive very little affection at a young age. These people, very difficult to show affection to others. I think you can carry some research work. Those troublemakers, nowadays we call terrorists. I think some of these key persons, if we research, perhaps these key figures, key person, I think when they are young, maybe they have to experience cold atmosphere or bully, abuse. So their mind, their mental thinking is something negative. So that I want to share our younger generations who belongs to the 21st century. So my generation now ready to say goodbye. If there is next life, we know the time come for preparation for next life, isn't it? Now the real the responsibility of better future or future of this century on your shoulder. Please think these lines and accordingly prepare not only here education, but here warm-heartedness. That's very, very important. That's my suggestion. And you also can consider this constructive criticism about our existing education system and the whole society. Too much competition. So that's why now here in this country, the richest country, maximum use of consumption, but still gap rich and poor. If the American wealth, those successful families taking care, pay more attention about this problem, I think you can reduce this gap. Isn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think America, during Lincoln, he abolished slavery. And then Luther King fight for civil right. Now you already have one black American president. I think big change. And a big portion of America voted such person. It's very wonderful. So now you must work hard. You can't blame everything, or you cannot put all responsibility to the president. The real change of the society must start from individual family. Congress or senator, of course, they are your representative, but they cannot change United States society by law. Change must come here, must start from individual. Initiative must come from individual. Isn't it? What do you think? Do you agree? Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another 5 questions or so.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness and friends. My name is Vanessa Tostada Aguilar, and I'm 13 years old, and I'm here to represent Willow Oak School. I was born in Palo Alto and Stanford Hospital, and I am from a Mexican descent. Your Holiness, how do you feel about different religions and people with different races and racism?
Oh, chulu menrada, rig menrada, any racism. Racism is not chik mirik thanjir marbe. Of course, racism. I think of here. I think my own case now, for example. The fundamental level, I'm a human being. When I born, just one human baby. Not religion, no religion, not yet, so religion not yet sort of involved. Of course, usually I think to too much simplify, we say, children who come from Buddhist family, we say Buddhist. Or from Christian, they say Christian, and because baptized at a young age. Actually, no. Faith must come from individual sort of mental state. So at a certain age, faith comes. Very young age, no. So at that time, anyway, particularly from the Buddhist viewpoint, I can say, at a young age, you are free from any religious faith. So at that time, fundamental level, we are same human being. Then later, now my case, Buddhist faith. So I become Buddhist. Then I took this Buddhist monk's robe. I become Buddhist monk. And also I have the name of Dalai Lama. So there are sort of different levels. Now, different races, different faith, different nationality, different position, rich family background, poor family background, differences there. Unfortunately, sometimes in the past and even today, sometimes we too much emphasis importance of secondary level, like race, nationality, religious faith, sacrifice fundamental human values. That is wrong. First, we must count. We are human beings. Nearly 7 billion human beings are same right. Everyone wants happy life. This is legitimate right. We must think that. For sake of secondary secondary level, sacrifice basic human value, that's a totally mistake. So here also you see you people. I think America, almost the multiracial, multicultural, multi-religion. The dominant, of course, Judeo-Christian tradition, and some extent, I think, Islam, like that. So, if we go a deeper level, we are same human being. Think every human being truly as a human brother, sisters. From the viewpoint of theistic religion, then all are truly brothers, sisters, come from one source, that's God. Of course, like Buddhism and Jainism, no idea of creator, something different. Like that. That's, I think, important. So, and then racism. You see, certain discrimination on the basis of races. It's totally mistake, very backward thinking. And also similarly, I think some discrimination on the basis of faith or political sort of view. These are, I think, totally wrong. Okay, next question.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Berenice Chavez. I am 14 years old. I attend Menlo Atherton High School. I have lived in the Bellhaven area for many years, and today I am here representing college track. I am the second oldest in a family of 6 children of a single mother. My question for you today is, are you afraid of anything? And if not, how do you keep your fears away?
Kosa. Mugdo. Right. I think fear basically 2 categories. One category of fear is with reasons. If mad dog coming, or place where a lot of the mosquito who carry malaria, then out of fear, some protection is necessary. That's the right fear. That fear is necessary, isn't it? Then another category of fear is just mental projection. And that, I think you can ask some scientists, as far as Buddhist psychology is concerned, the unnecessary fear, mental projected fear, actually very much related with extreme self-centered attitude. Extreme self-centered attitude. Then look at that. You may feel a little distance. You may develop some kind of sense of insecurity and suspicion. So, too much self-centered attitude close your inner door. Difficult to communicate with others. That brings fear. So for that, once you open your heart and reach out, I think the 99% of human beings, I think, are nice. If you show them genuine human feeling, they also respond to you. If you right from the beginning, you suspect, suspicion, and you yourself choose distance from them, then difficult. So that's, I say, unnecessary, silly fear, no proper basis. So that kind of fear is really harmful, very bad. And that kind of fear brings more feeling of frustration and depression, loneliness, then finally some mental nerve breakdown, right? Nervous breakdown. And also worst case, suicide happen. Like that. Now next question.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is David Montenegro, and I am 15 years old. And I'm here to represent the Spark program, and I'm a sophomore at Tecoya High School. And my question for Your Holiness is, if given human nature, is world peace achievable?
Question kare. Oh. Oh, yes. Basic human nature, as already I mentioned, the way we grown up under mother's affection, including mother's milk. So the medical scientist says that after birth, next few weeks, simply mother's physical sort of touch is very crucial factor for proper enlargement of the brain. So we can notice dogs, cats, as soon as they're born, the biological factor, they immediately develop some kind of close bond between mother and their youngster. We also, similar mammal. Not like some other sort of mammal, mother lay down the egg, then gone, never meet. I think like turtle, some turtle, I don't know all turtle. Some turtle, of course, they lay down the egg, then mother left. They never sort of have the opportunity of meeting. So the youngster then themselves look after for survival. So I don't think, because of that nature, they don't think any affection. I think the young turtle and their mother, if we try to put together, I don't think they have the capacity to show affection each other. But we, the nature or God created that also the child's survival entirely depend on others' care. So in order to bring enthusiasm to care, to take care, even you see facing some difficulties, but willing to sacrifice their own difficulties in order to save, because a youngster. So that energy, that enthusiasm, bring by emotion. That is affection. Although sometimes that affection also very much mixed with attachment. On higher level, we must make a distinction. Attachment and genuine love must distinguish, separate thing. So in order to develop greater compassion, unbiased compassion, detachment is obstacle. So we must practice detach, then develop a compassion. So these are more higher level. So therefore, I always consider basic human nature is compassionate. I think here, you already, experience those children who, at a young age, full of sort of care from your mother, from your sort of friend, from your family. I think in deep inside, much more secure, much more happier than those children who at that age lack of affection. And worst thing, as I mentioned earlier, abuse. Then no matter how smart at the superficial level, in deep inside, some unhealthy sort of insecurity there, sense of insecurity there. So, basic human nature is more gentleness. Since we receive others, since we appreciate about other sort of affection, so that person or that being also have the capacity to show affection to other. So therefore, like one time I met one, I think American senator or congressman, I think somewhere in this area. One his friend, I think his own child or something, expressed or at that time about the Iraq crisis. The child, you see, put one question. Or the Saddam Hussein, when he was young, he also received much affection from Kasoda. I mean, he must appreciate his sort of parents' sort of affection, like ordinary children. I think that question, a very good question. So my point is, like Saddam Hussein or Stalin or Hitler, eventually, due to different circumstances, you see, turned such a sort of merciless person, cruel person. But their young age, I think, same human nature, more sort of compassionate, more gentleness. So I believe basic human nature is more positive, more gentleness, more compassionate. So we, everybody, whether believer or non-believer, we everyone have the same sort of seed of compassion, like that. So, and then on top of that, using human intelligence, combine warm-heartedness as a part of nature and the human intelligence, helping to nurturing these basic human good quality, then I think we become a compassionate person. Through that way, there is real possibility, compassionate world. That very possible. So we have to work for that. I myself also, my life totally dedicated for bring more peaceful world, more compassionate world. So my case, just talk. Your case, through action. Good. Next question.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Leslie Cisneros, and I am 14 years old. I attend Melo Atherton High School. I have lived in East Palo Alto for 10 years. I'm a graduate of Costaña, home of the 49ers. I represent the college track program. My question for Your Holiness is, if you ever had a sad day, what would cheer you up? Are you happy?
Kosa. Oh. In daily life, of course, there are a number of sort of causes for disappointment or sadness. When you see I face that kind of things happen, then I always look more holistic view, holistic way. And everything not negative. One particular thing, negative, brings sad, disappointment. But if you look from a wider perspective, wider angle, there are also some positive things. Even the same event, from one dimension, negative, another dimension may be positive. So that I always do. So if you look the negative things, only you see one sort of narrow sort of what's the angle, and think about it, then it becomes greater. So if you open your mind, look from a wider perspective, then that becomes part of event. That's I do. And also you see when some problem facing, look from distance, then you can see wider picture. Look very closely, something very unbearable. Next question.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Sofia Duenas. I'm 14 years old, and I attend Sequoia High School. I'm here today representing the college track program, an after-school program that helps me be successful in high school and one day earn a college degree. My question for Your Holiness is, if you could take back one thing that you have said or done, what would it be?
I think more serious thing. Perhaps sometimes I really feel my age, say around 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, those years, see, they generally, they age really the period of Kasoda study. So at that time, the Chinese forces also not yet come. The others were there, Kasade. Official works, you see, carried by regent. I am quite free. So that's the prime time for study. But these, I think, a few years, I really remain like lazy student. Now I look back, a little bit regret, but that never, because of that, repeat.
You can never repeat it.
You can never sort of repeat it.
Bring it back.
Oh, so that sometimes when I sort of read some books, I always do. So whole life, be student, study. So now, become old person, but still I always study. So then occasionally I feel, at that time, completely free time. So if I put more effort, that I lost. So you young people here, you also, you see, must sort of realize this is the prime sort of time for study. Play important for physical health, for physical growth, but study very, very important. Then here I think I want to share with you, there are 3 levels of knowledge, understanding. First, hearing from teachers, from read by yourself books, learn something. That's first level. Then second level, now you yourself further investigate, further think, further analyze. The first level of knowledge, you just rely on others' word or books. If someone argue, then you have not much to say. Book state that, or my teacher state that, that's all. So that's not sufficient. You must analyze by yourself. Reflect. And you yourself carry some research or experiment. Through your research work, you get more sort of conviction. This is like that. Then someone asks, argue, you have plenty of reasons. No, this is true, this is right, because A, B, C, D. So that knowledge is real knowledge. Then, because of familiarization, familiarity, without much effort, the idea or some certain sort of thinking automatically come without much effort. That's third level. That's important. So you just usually learn through book or through lecture, and just to copy like that. It's not not sufficient, not deep. That's important. Good?
Thank you.
Family of 5, born in East Palo Alto, California. My question for His Holiness is, what do you like most about being a monk?
그래서 좋은 거라서. Of course, being monk, life becomes much simpler. A lot of time. If you become parent, I think, if may I say so, I think this because of age, bachelor marriage, teenage, I think you have sufficient time to take care of your hair. Once you produce your children, your wife, and some other thing, then you become much more busier. So we hurriedly shave like that, like that. So you see, being as a monk, you see complete independence. The sort of layperson's life. When no child, too much worry. And then one child, second, third. Then again, too much worry, too much child, too much children. And whether birth control or abortion, a lot of complications. If no child, too much worry. Too many child, too much worry. Then not only your own sort of concern, but your own children. Eventually, children's children. So endless concern, endless sort of worry. So that's, of course, monk's view. I think a lay person may have different view. You may feel little pity for monk.
Your Holiness, the students would like to present you with a gift. We just want to say thank you so much for your presence here today. You are blessed and you are a blessing. And we are very grateful for all that you've done for us today. And we'd like to say thank you.
Thank you.